Sean Diddy Combs has been denied bail following Tuesday's mixed verdict, which sent shockwaves through the entertainment community. Diddy was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but was acquitted on the more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy. The judge, in denying him bail, cited years-long pattern of violence and ordered that he remain in custody until his sentencing, which has been proposed for October 3rd. The verdict, which has generated mixed reactions, came after a 7-week federal criminal trial. Combs was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution involving his former girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, and another woman who testified under the alias Jane. Both charges carry a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Combs was cleared of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of sex trafficking, 1 related to Cassie Ventura and 1 to Jane. These more serious charges could have resulted him in a mandatory minimum of 15 years and a maximum of life in prison. Cassie Ventura's attorney, Doug Wigdor, reacting to the verdict, said he is pleased that Sean Diddy Combs has finally been held accountable.
Well, I think there was a lot of mixed emotions in the courtroom, generally speaking. Obviously, we would have liked to have seen convictions on the RICO charges and the sex trafficking charges, but Cassie prompted this investigation by the Southern District, and now Sean Combs stands before the court as a convicted felon of 2 federal crimes. He faces significant incarceration. Not the exact outcome that we wanted, but we are grateful to the jury for finding a guilty verdict on those 2 federal crimes. The team, the prosecution team, I thought did an excellent job. Again, not the outcome I'm sure that they wanted. They didn't get the top counts, but they at least were able to secure 2 convictions of 2 federal felony charges. But I would say this, he definitely faces a substantial prison term, and I do believe he's going to be serving years, plural. It would be very difficult for me to gauge how many years, though.
All right, Mimbai, mixed reactions. Outside the courtroom, we saw his family coming out. Some, really looked happy for the verdict. And we did see that picture of Diddy when, his not guilty charges were announced. He was visibly shaking. He was even praying in court. And, at the end of the day, he told his family that he loves them. He gave them a hug, reassuring them that they will get through this whole situation. And of course, you heard Cassie's attorney there saying that, he believes that the trial went fairly and accordingly, and he hoped that, Diddy would spend more years in jail. Your thoughts on it?
I think that a lot of people had hoped for a bigger case. But again, it's not the media, it's not the public, it's not social media that manages a trial. There was a jury system, and of course now there are questions around that jury system because it was predominantly male. But I heard an interesting point that was made yesterday that the jury got to see videos that were shared with them exclusively and not with the media of some of the things that transpired during the freak-offs. And remember there were so many hidden cameras that had been taken down from Diddy's home. So I wonder if what they saw in those videos is what convinced them that there was some level of consensuality. Now, with the testimonies of Cassie, specifically of Jane, who is widely known to be associated with the rapper 50 Cent, revelations such as, even at that moment when she was testifying, she testified that Diddy was still paying her rent. They had a contractual agreement. So all of those things blur the lines around consensuality and transaction. I thought it was very sad, though, because we saw him abuse Cassie, but that wasn't one of the charges. So it's just a reminder to us about court processes, what the law says. Just because somebody behaves like a monster towards their partner, just because somebody has very eccentric sexual tastes, does not mean that all those activities are illegal. So I think that the other thing for me that I found strange is that I thought there would be many more witnesses to testify.
Well, I believe that after this, I mean, he's facing a lot of civil charges. I think about 70 or even more women have come in. I mean, Cassie Ventura has ushered in another sort of Me Too movement, you know, just the same way we saw in...
RICO charges are big charges,
yes.
And they're not charges that you would have had with the type of case that the prosecution put forward. That's why I said, yes. I would have expected conspiracy, racketeering. Those are huge things. I expected so many more witnesses and testimonies. But, you know...
Well, I mean, he's going to face more charges eventually at the end of the day. But, you know, I saw the reactions from even people that talked about how they've been to the parties that Diddy has held, and they didn't see any sort of abuse. He had a lot of supporters at the court as well, which I found very interesting as well, because of the sort of, allegations that we saw. We saw videos of Diddy actually hitting Cassie. Really, really, I mean, I think this is one of the reasons why he was denied bail, because of the history of violence. I don't know if you guys want to quickly touch on it before we move on.
As regards supporters, there are going to be a lot of mindless, useless supporters for anything. For the life of me, Hitler had supporters. For the life of me, the guy that shot a healthcare executive on the road in New York, the Italian guy, Mangiano or something, doesn't he have supporters? In fact, a lot of people are saying he did the right thing on social media. So these ages, you have supporters. But see, what's the substantive case? That Diddy is a woman abuser. He has no respect for the rights of women. And he tortured Cassie Ventura. And he did it over a period of time. The case about the Rico Frico, which some people are now terming it, it's not that those things didn't happen. But it was difficult to prove because, one, they were both in a relationship. So the clause of making it consensual also happened. So the defense team was able to argue that though it was consensual, she wanted to satisfy the sexual gratifications, but it doesn't mean that deep inside she was happy about doing it. Secondly, to be able to establish racketeering, it's a long deal.
Yeah.
The prosecution did not do a good job at establishing racketeering. And I saw that. I see, it was obvious when the jury was taking time to be able to decide. I know the contentious issue was the racketeering case. And I know they didn't have sufficient evidence enough. You can also make the argument of how the jury was skewed and all of that. What is important is that we should condemn a society that abuses women, that abuses anybody in general.
All right.
And let's see when the prosecution will happen, how long it's going to be given in jail term, what's going to happen after this. Maybe there are going to be many more class action lawsuits that are going to come out of this.
So
that's just it. But for those that are celebrating, please, they shouldn't celebrate too much.
Yeah.
You are celebrating a proper misogynist. And please, for those that are making joke about the situation, Cassie might never recover from all of this. Yeah. Let's be sensitive to the plight of the women.
She has done some therapy as well. He faces 20 years.
Okay,
20 years.
We cannot make a definitive statement about a jurisdiction that we are not familiar with. But we can be comfortable talking about lessons.
Yeah, lessons.
Now,